we would step out as Uncle Boyce and Auntie Alicia and give some advice to young people on some things you can think about, some goals you can set for yourself in your 20s that might set you up for life. So we're about to get started. Buckle your seatbelt, hit the thumbs up button, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we're going to get started on the Black Financial Channel right now. Good morning to everybody, and good morning, Alicia.
Good morning, everyone.
So we are sitting here, and we were just sitting here thinking about how so many young people just get such terrible advice, and then it suddenly hit us. Wait, I have a PhD in finance, and you have a PhD in social work. So why don't we give like the masculine feminine balance of advice that we would like for you to have if you're in your 20s, and it could probably apply if you're in your 30s or 40s. I mean, life kind of stays the same, you just get older. And so this is mostly on the financial tip. We feel that your economic preparation is important, and I assure you that we're responsible people, and things have worked out pretty well. So so we actually, at risk of sounding a little bit cocky, I was kind of like, wait a minute, you're a full professor, and you've had a PhD a long time, and so have I. So maybe we actually know a couple of things we can share with people. So I'm just going to go down the list. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe button, shout out the name of your city in the chat. I'd like to see what cities you guys come from. Kenya's from Las Vegas, by the way. You remember Las Vegas?
I love Las Vegas. We've never been together. It'd be nice if we went to Las Vegas together.
Yeah, that's so cool. We should go to Las Vegas. Yeah, so Kenya, we're going to come to Las Vegas. We're going to stay at your house, okay? All right. So, all right, so everybody meet at Kenya's house. Okay, so here's what I want to kind of lay out. This is also advice that's kind of tailored to the Black community. This is not financial advice, but this is a perspective that's laid out in terms of financial goals that we think apply well to Black people. We're not discriminating. It's not to say that if you are not Black, you can't benefit from this information, but we find that Black people just kind of have just a different set of realities from everybody else, kind of from this whole racial wealth gap thing. Do you agree?
I do agree. What would be the number one thing for you that you noticed?
I think the number one thing for Black people in terms of setbacks,
yeah,
little dumb stuff like maybe like your parent taking out the phone bill in your name when you're 2 years old, or, or not that my mama did that. My mama didn't, but
no,
still,
of course not.
Yeah, or just literally coming into the world with no inheritance. Like your white friends, they're like, "Oh, my granddad left me an apartment building." You're like, "Good for you."
Yeah, what I used to see in college was as soon as you turned 18, parents were taking out loans and stuff in their children's names because they were 18 and they had credit, and they would like have them take out student loans, and then they would take the money. It was supposed to be for college. And they would take the money. They'd be like, "My mama just took all my money."
Yeah,
I got no money for college.
Yeah, like I think that being Black is just unique. Like you got to do a different set of financial acrobatics when you're Black. Give me a yes or no if you guys understand what we're talking about. Like I think that being Black is different. So that means that like I saw this this white guy who was saying that by the time you're 30, you're supposed to have $66,000 in your investment portfolio. Did you have $66,000 on your 30th birthday?
I didn't, but the thing is that I did max out my 401k because I had a job.
Did you have $66,000 in your 401k?
Probably not that much, but I had something in there. It made me feel like an adult. It made me feel good.
Yeah, so maybe that's the first piece of advice, right? Max out your 401k if you have one, if you have the opportunity to create one. A lot of our people don't get encouraged to max out their investments. Did I ever tell you about that SNL skit called Black Jeopardy?
Oh, yes.
Where Leslie Jones, they said your boss wants to take $50 out of your paycheck to put in your 401k, and she answered, she said, "You better give me my $50 and so I can buy me some scratch offs."
Oh, that was a sad. It's funny. It's true. Some people invest in things that is not going to get them anywhere. So yeah,
and that's the way to go backward. And I think that's the kind of stuff that we have to kind of challenge and say, look, no, that's stupid. Like that's not what a smart person does if they want to get here financially. They have to invest for the future. If you invest for your future, you'll have a future. If you don't invest in your future, you won't have a future. It's that simple.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know what to do. Like you get your first job. Suppose you go to college, you graduate, you get your first job, and you have that HR meeting, and they give you all this paperwork with all this information on it, and you don't even know what half the stuff means. And they're like, I could do how much with my retirement? What percentage? And then you start seeing that your income kind of falls because you're putting so much money in retirement. And a lot of times, depending on how much money you make, you're like, I don't know if I can live like this.
Mm.
So some of it takes sacrifice. You can't go out and buy a brand new nice car. Maybe you shouldn't. You should take some of that money and put it in your 401k and understand how important that is. But some people don't understand that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's, and the other thing too is I remember when I was in my 20s, even though it's crazy because even think about this, right? I was a finance major in college. I was the number one finance student in the entire University of Kentucky for
Mm-hmm.
that class. So you would, and I was teaching finance at the college level. So you would think that I would have a certain comfort level with certain things that came to money. But even then, though, but a lot of money is very emotional and very rooted in your family traditions.
Mm-hmm.
It's rooted in your habits. It's rooted in your value system, and that's the thing that I didn't have. Was I didn't have a culturally entrenched family value system that was built on wealth accumulation. And I remember thinking about things like, and basically, I was playing strugglenomics instead of powernomics. I wasn't playing powernomics in my 20s. I wasn't thinking, okay, this is how I'm going to be a millionaire. This is how I'm going to build wealth. It was more like survival,
Ah.
month to month, check to check. And even and you can know all the advanced stuff in the world, but it's like maybe exercise. Like somebody could tell you all day what the right foods are to eat and what kind of workout you should do if you want to be in the Olympics. But
So
if you
if
don't want to be in the Olympics, then it's not going to work.
so if you could do it all over again, Boyce, what did you waste your money on in your 20s that you wish you would have done differently?
Oh, everything, everything. If I could redo my 20s, I would have started investing in stocks much earlier. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't really become a heavy stock market investor till I was in my 30s. But if I could do it over again, I literally would have started investing in the stock market when I was 12.
And you were a finance major and you
Yeah,
didn't even
yeah.
do
I
that.
knew it was all theory. It was
Okay.
because it wasn't my reality. It wasn't what people in my family were doing. So it
Okay.
wasn't. It's like something white people did. To be honest with you,
Oh.
yeah. And the interesting thing too is that when people talk about things like retirement, I'd be like, I'm 25. Why am I thinking about money when I'm 65? That's 1,000 years away. And what
Oh.
I didn't realize at the time, which I thought it should, which I wish I'd known or thought about, is when you have money in your retirement account, that still can be part of your financial security because you have an asset base. You can borrow against that. Like if you run into a tough situation and you got 100 grand in your retirement account, you can go to the bank and say, "Look, I got this money over here. I don't want to sell my stocks, but I'd like to borrow against it. Can I borrow 5,000? And
Mm.
they'll loan you 5 grand if you have assets."
What did you do with your money instead?
I have no idea.
You don't even know?
No, yeah, it's all a blur. The 90s were a blur.
You have nothing to show for it right now.
You know what? You know what I did? The biggest investment I made when I was young, that paid off really well was education.
Okay.
I was really invested in my education, and I still benefit from that to this day. I've made millions of dollars by making the right educational investments, and so that was a big deal. My first job actually in Syracuse, I was doing well. I made six figures. So making money again, that was a value. That was a core value. The core value in the house was get a good education so you can get a good job making good money. I achieved that goal.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
the bigger objective should have been, um, sure, get a job, make good money, but also flip that into something that's going to be more sustainable and more empowering, like owning a business. So I think that would be one of the things I would tell anybody that's young is everybody should know how to start a business. Just because when you like the black business school student that's a friend of yours that you
Yeah.
said
Mm-hmm.
started her CMOS business,
Yes.
and
Yes.
she was in class and she was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I'm gonna get this done, and now she's like making all this extra money just a month later.
I was really impressed with her because I'm on the phone with her and she's like, "Oh, I really want to start a business." I said, "Well, let me give you the hookup. Let me get you into Boyce's class." I'm trying to hook my
Mm-hmm.
friends up, boys. And she
See how
actually,
they be using you.
but she took the class and she was like, "Oh, I just started my business. I don't even have a website set up yet, and I got all these orders." Her and her children are putting together CMOS jars. We're gonna get ours today, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think that's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so I think everybody should have a business or side hustle.
Okay.
I think that really makes a difference. Uh, because that can supplement your income. So if you have a job and you're not making enough money, you give yourself a raise. You just get a little bit better at your business, find a new customer. That's easier than like the way we used to do it, which was like you'd wait a whole year and then see if your boss is going to give you a 1% raise or a 3% raise. Man, that's for suckers. Like, just go get your little hustle going. That way, you make that extra $500 to $1,000 a month, and you're balling. And we'll go ahead. What was your next?
No, I was just going to ask you what else should people in their 20s do?
Oh, okay. I think everybody should try to own property. I think owning property should be a core value. Like my buddy Nuri Muhammad out of the Nation of Islam, he did a great speech today where he was talking about how they call it real estate because it's real. That's the only asset that's really real, and that's a real statement because stocks and bonds. It's like pieces of paper that represent ownership in companies, and it's not that it's not real, but when you get into the whole rabbit hole of fiat currency and the devaluation of the dollar and all that, or even cryptocurrency, which is a bunch of bytes and bits that allegedly claim that you have this wealth, it gets real weird. Almost like funkadelic. So it doesn't mean you should invest in those things, but I think real estate is just kind of solid. You can sink your teeth into it. So like I believe the ownership of property.
Well, that's going to depend on your credit, right?
Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
that would be another tip I would give is take care of your credit score. If your credit score is in the toilet, don't give up on yourself. I think that's what I've seen people do that. That's what I did. You get to the point where your credit's so bad where you're like, man, who
It
cares?
don't make no sense.
Right.
Get out of
It's like that sick person who knows they need to go to the doctor, but they don't.
Too far
Um,
gone.
yeah, yeah. And they're just like, whatever. I'll just, and you just each day, you're like, well, I don't have to go to the doctor today. And then the next day, you're like, well, I don't have to go today. And then before you know it, 3 years have gone by, and whatever that little issue is that the doctor could have fixed pretty fast, you didn't address it. So now it's a serious issue. So I think addressing the credit, like just confronting it and at least understanding your report, challenging everything that's on your credit report, and then also seeing what you can do, you know?
As you're talking, I'm reminded how important it is to be able to delay gratification. Like people just I want to go on this vacation today.
Mm,
I want to get my hair done, get my nails done. I want this nice outfit. I want my fake eyelashes. I want to look fly today. And it's like you spend so much money investing in the moment right now. It's like you don't have any money for the future. So
mm,
it seems like that's the biggest thing to do in your 20s. What do
yeah,
you think?
yeah. Well, I my slogan in my 20s was I'm gonna spend a few years living like nobody else will, so I can spend the rest of my life living like nobody else can.
Ah,
And that's what got me through school because I was in school a long time,
you
and
were in
and I
school.
wanted to, yeah, I wanted to have a good life, and only way I knew how to do it at that time was through education. So I said, okay, I'm gonna get a lot of it because that was a core value, you know.
And plus you're super brilliant and smart and you know, that's your
Oh,
that's your place.
thank you. You're so nice to me. I don't deserve it. Okay, so hit the thumbs up button, by the way. So let's keep going. So a few other. So I would say if I was to run down a quick list to young people, I would say one, get a side hustle or business. Those are the great best ways to make money. Two, try to own property if you can. If you can't own it, at least read a book about it or watch some videos, and so that when you do get the money, you'll know what to do. Three, if they offer you a retirement account, you want to max that sucker out so you can have some money long term and build an asset base. Four, credit score. Take care of your credit. Try to improve it. At least confront it. Find out what the issue is. Challenge some things on the report. Get on the phone with bill collectors. Learn how credit reports work. Things like that. Also, I think just as far as bonuses, investing in your skill set, I think is really important. Whether that is formal education or really now online education is a very big deal. And a lot of the people that can teach you things like how to become a millionaire are online. Like professors can't teach that because they're too busy being professors. Most of them aren't millionaires. Also, I think two other points that are non-financial that you're not going to hear a lot is I think healthy relationships and taking care of your physical health. I think those two things really go a long way.
Yeah, that's going to take discipline. It's
Mm,
going to take discipline to be able to implement that.
mm.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So I yes, because I think that that arena of physical health and relationships with other people, Like, I don't know. I feel like that's important, and it's something that doesn't get discussed. But if you're doing really well financially and all your relationships are a mess, or you don't take care of your health, your physical, mental health, then it's going to kind of ruin everything.
Well said, Boyce.
Well, thank you, baby.
I
Thank you.
agree. Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so anyway, we're gonna get out of here, guys. And by the way, the Black Wealth Bootcamp, we meet every Thursday. So if you'd like to join the Black Wealth Bootcamp, there's the URL on the screen, blackwealthbootcamp.com. So jot that down if you'd like to take a look and join us. Also, here's a free lecture you can have right now. It's a 100yearfamilyplan.com, and that is where I basically put together this plan on how you can become your own family bank. You've heard the concept of infinite banking. Well, because my PhD's in finance, I kind of twisted some of the um, theory so that it fits Black people and what we actually need to do. So this is something you're not going to read in a textbook, but it's something I put together for you. So, and it's totally free. So you can go to 100yearfamilyplan.com. If you could, please hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. And I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you for listening. Say goodbye.
Bye bye, everyone.